Was the trip back to Freddy's Fazbear Pizzeria really worth it? Let's rant about it. Hey, and welcome back to the channel. We have a film review today, finally. Been doing a lot of TV, so let's get back into movies. So we're looking at Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So this film basically takes place a little bit after the first one ended. So we kind of see the repercussions. We have Mike and Abby. They're just trying to navigate kind of the post-world after all the stuff at the first film took place. Abby is kind of really sad and sullen that she wants to be with her friends again, and we're trying to see her acclimate into school life and find real friends. And then we also see Vanessa kind of dealing with the PTSD of her father being murdered, and then just kind of coming to terms with who she is and what her legacy is. And then the film kicks off as we find out there's a original location for the Five Nights at Freddy's or Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria chain where an original incident with a child took place. And that kind of sparks a whole new sequence of events that this film kind of takes place with. I won't want to spoil too much from there, but we just kind of get an origin from the first film. So this kind of takes place a little bit before that and then after those events. So you kind of get some time jumping a little bit, trying to get more of the history and more of the lore of what's going on here. So yeah, my thoughts on the film. So overall, like, this film is fine. It's not as offensively bad as what I've been seeing some of the initial reviews online. But it's a very tame horror film, much like the original. I think it's very much made for all audiences to be able to come and see it and make it, an okay horror film for children to see. The lack of blood and gore and things like that is very much missing from this franchise, at least for my sensibilities for wanting of a horror film. And the overall, I think the scares are very tame and very unengaging. They don't really elicit anything from me, but just kind of shrug shoulders for the most part. You get a lot of story in this one, which when the original film came out, I did a lot of YouTubing on figuring out the lore of the video games and really kind of understanding. I dug hours and hours into videos exploring all the backstory and the theories and all that jazz. And, that was a couple years ago, and don't really fully remember all of those, but I'd say that really helped me with this one, because this one I think really caters to the big fans of the video game franchise and really knowing the lore and backstory of this. The film doesn't do a lot of heavy lifting to really get you up to speed. I mean, it does give you some backstory of who these characters are, but it does take a lot of liberties of you kind of already knowing some of the information. So I found it very helpful for me to really have leaned on all of that backstory research that I did to really kind of understand what was going on. So that might be a difficult barrier for some people to get through, of really not knowing all that backstory and really engaging in this particular film. So kind of warning there, if you don't know too much about that story, there might be gaps missing for you in this film. As for everything else, I mean, the acting is whatever. I mean, there's nothing spectacular about this. There's a few cameo performances by well-known actors that are already listed in the cast list. So you get Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard. They're fun. It's fun to see them, from the Scream franchise now into this franchise. It's just cool to see them still getting kind of some work and some performance there. But other than that, the main cast, they do fine with what they're given. But I mean, this isn't much to work with at all. So it's definitely not a great vehicle to elicit incredible performance. You do get McKenna Grace in there, which I think she does a decent job, as she typically does, but not really given too much to do in this particular film. I wouldn't say it's a a big role in this one. But other than that, everything else about it I already talked about. The scares are kind of tame and limited. The story, again, you need to really know a lot of the backstory to be able to fill in some of the gaps, but it's a pretty simple story that they're really presenting to you. So there's nothing too worrisome to be able to not fully follow what's going on, but to really appreciate everything. Again, understanding that backstory really helps. So overall, I'd say this film isn't not offensively bad, but I mean, it's nothing special. So overall, I'm going to give this one a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So not really over that 3 barrier where I say it's necessarily a good movie, but it's not utter trash like I think what a lot of the reviews out there are certainly saying nowadays. So, well, I hope you enjoyed the review. Again, please like, comment, subscribe if you can. Really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments, do you play the games? Do you know the lore? Do you like the movie? Did you like the original film? Talk about whatever you want. Just go nuts. Really appreciate it. All right, well, hopefully I'll see you again. And if I don't see you again, well then, bye forever.